Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophie and I am currently 35 and a half weeks pregnant, and I film lots of pregnancy, lifestyle and fitness content. So today's video is going to be my pregnancy struggles, and not necessarily struggles because I don't really want to word it like that. Obviously, like, I feel super blessed that I'm pregnant and that I've managed to get this far, but just things that you come across when you're pregnant that people might not warn you about, people might not tell you about. A lot of people think that pregnancy is this glamorous, like, amazing thing, and obviously it's an amazing thing. It's not very glamorous and not all the time. So I'm just going to tell you my pregnancy problems slash struggles. Obviously I don't want to say struggles because I don't really like that word, but yeah, you get the gist. So I'm going to start off with sort of what I came across from like the first trimester and all the way through. So it's going to kind of start with what I thought was the first struggle, or what I found the hardest at first. So the first one for me would be nobody knowing that you are pregnant. Like, it literally is so hard, especially when people around you are asking you if you are pregnant. I had a few people say to me, "God, your boobs have grown, you're not pregnant, are you?" And I'd be like, no, what do you mean? I'm not pregnant. So it is really difficult to keep it from people and just kind of know that you and a few others are the only ones that know that you are pregnant. And we didn't tell our parents till I was nearly 9 weeks because we wanted to tell them on Christmas Day. So that was really difficult because we obviously kept it from them for quite a few weeks. And I just think it's quite hard, like, especially because I do Instagram and I just didn't know what to post about. I just felt like I had no content. I couldn't be bothered to take any pictures because I knew I was pregnant, and I was just like, I really just don't want to do this. And I was like, I just can't wait to tell people that I'm pregnant, and then everyone will understand why I've been so quiet. But yeah, I think that is definitely the first struggle, is just not people knowing. Obviously some people tell everybody at first and that's absolutely fine, but we decided to keep it to ourselves. And I didn't put it on social media, I don't think, till I was about 13 weeks pregnant. So it was quite a long wait, because it was about 10 weeks, so we found out when I was 4 weeks pregnant. So yeah, I think we waited about 10 weeks until it went onto social media. So it was quite difficult to keep that in. I think the next one that a lot of people don't talk about is the anxiety that you get when you are pregnant. So in the first trimester, I suffered from, I wouldn't necessarily say it was like severe anxiety, but there's just always something in the back of your mind. Is this baby going to be healthy? Am I going to end this pregnancy in a miscarriage? Like, it's still such early days. Like, every time I went to the toilet, I checked if there was blood in the toilet, I checked if there was blood on the tissue. Even in the middle of the night, I would turn the light on in the night just to check that there was no blood. And I think because it's your first trimester, and obviously miscarriage is the most common in the first trimester, it was just like a constant anxiety of, what if this baby doesn't stick? What if this baby doesn't last? What if this baby doesn't come to light? Like, it was quite hard, but obviously you want to stay positive as well. But I think at the same time, it is good to just know that these things don't always happen. So I think I actually took comfort in knowing that I prepared myself for the worst if that was to happen. But obviously I did stay very positive as well. So that was the first trimester, and then I think the second trimester was fine. Like, I didn't really suffer from much anxiety at all. I had the 12-week scan, that was fine. 20-week scan was fine, and I just kind of prayed that I would make it to the point I'm at now. And then I think the third trimester, anxiety kicks in a bit as well, because your movements change. You go from your baby punching you and kicking you because they've got all this room to move around in, to then rolling around and kind of just scraping across your stomach, and you're a bit like, is my baby even moving? It's not moving like it used to. And I think they don't tell you the transition of movements. They tell you in the hospital, and your midwife will tell you to make sure the baby's always moving, keep track of movements. Movements will keep developing until you're 32 weeks. But what they don't tell you is movements change. Like, movements go from proper jabs and kicks and punches to just more like just feeling them rolling around, because they obviously don't have as much room. So I think between sort of 28 and 32 weeks, I was quite anxious about that. I was thinking every day, God, has this baby moved properly? I don't know if the baby's even moved. So it was quite difficult, but I feel like now that I'm 36 weeks, I definitely just know that the baby's moving when it's moving, and even if it doesn't punch me or kick me, I can definitely feel it moving, and I just know that a movement is a movement, but they don't explain that to you very well, unfortunately. Next one is what you would need these for. So these are little sanitary pads, and the reason being is that you have extreme discharge when you are pregnant. Not everybody does, I know that because I've spoken to people, but most people I know have had really bad discharge, and it's to the point where you sometimes feel like you have wet yourself. So without these in your knickers, you would probably want to change your knickers like once or twice a day, especially if you're out and about and you don't have one of those in. You're a bit like, oh my God, I feel like I've just wet myself. So these are a must when you are pregnant. No one really tells you about the discharge or the extra fluid that your vagina leaks. So I would not be able to live without these, especially as now I'm in my 3rd trimester and I'm getting closer and closer to labour. I have more than ever, so I definitely need to wear one of these every single day. There's not a day that I wouldn't wear one, and even if I get up early in the morning and go downstairs in my pyjamas and I've got no knickers on, I regret it, because I'm a bit like, I literally just feel like I've wet myself sat on the sofa. So yeah, these are a must. Panty liners, get them. So my next struggle / problem is the amount that you kind of get judged by people. And I know that I put myself out there on YouTube and I put myself out there on Instagram, and when people reply to my stories and people send me messages, I can't not expect that when I have a bit of a following. But I just think some people's opinions are just so unwanted and so unnecessary and quite rude. Like, some people are so helpful and they will try and tell you everything, even if you already know it. You obviously don't want to be rude and be like, yeah, I did know that, like, you didn't need to tell me, because obviously they're trying to be nice and they're trying to help you out. But some people are just rude. For example, I put a post up about not having any stretch marks on my stomach, and someone replied saying, I had no stretch marks during my pregnancy, but I got them when I had my baby, so you probably will get them. That was it. Like, no, but hopefully you don't, or, but it's not a problem if you do. It was just, I didn't have any, but I got them, so you probably will get them. No kiss, nothing. And I'm just like, that is quite rude. Like, why do you even need to say that to me? And then people obviously have an opinion on things that you're buying. Oh, well, I don't recommend doing that. And I put a post up about harvesting colostrum, and the amount of people that replied saying, don't do that, it's a waste of time. Well, I wouldn't ask for help on it if I personally thought it was a waste of time. I personally want to do that, so please don't then tell me that it's a waste of time. Just because you couldn't do it or just because you didn't agree with it doesn't mean that I don't want to do it. But then obviously a lot of people were very helpful as well, but I think that is definitely one thing, especially when it's your first baby. I think other people that have had their first baby before you then think that they know a lot more than you, and they think that you need to know their opinion over your own. And obviously I'm not saying that I don't want people's opinions, because I do, and I think a lot of them help, but some people are just so rude, and the way that they word things, I just think, like, do you think you're getting a reply out of me? Because you're not, because that was really rude. So yeah, that is one of my pet hates, but I can't not expect it. Like Josh said to me, you put yourself out there, you can't not expect it, and I know I can't, but I just think sometimes the things that people say to me, I would never ever reply to anyone's story saying that. Like, I just think people can be really rude. So the next one is the struggle to do normal things, like the hoovering, like washing a car. Not that I've ever washed a car, but I can imagine that washing a car would be difficult. But things like vacuuming the stairs, making the bed, i.e. like changing the bed sheets and things like that, like lifting up the mattress, putting sheets on, even like cleaning the bath, like obviously you have to bend over, like scrubbing the bath with like bleach. Just normal things that you kind of take for granted. You start to realise that your body is just getting bigger and bigger, and things are getting tougher and tougher, and things like vacuuming the stairs just become impossible with a normal vacuum cleaner, and things like cleaning the bath, and you just put it off, and then you don't want to do it, and then you feel mad because you haven't done it, and then you've got a messy house. So I would say that one of the hardest things is just not being able to do what you've always been able to do. So another is personal for me, but obviously it's not personal for everyone, and it would be the lack of sex drive that you have, slash the actual difficulty to have sex with your partner. Because let's face it, we have this big lump on our stomach and positions are difficult. You're getting out of breath, you know, you're running out of room, your lungs are squashed. I don't really have much of a sex drive, I'm not going to lie. I know quite a lot of people do when they're pregnant, but I think the majority of people don't. I know people that have never had sex throughout the whole pregnancy, which is absolutely fine. Obviously, it's a personal thing and everyone is different, but I definitely suffer from a lack of sex drive, which is fine because my husband is fine with that. He doesn't get at me about it, he doesn't shout at me, he completely understands the position that I'm in, so it's not actually a big deal in our house, which I'm very lucky, because again, I've seen people say that they just do it for the sake of the partners, or they feel forced to do it, and I do not feel like that, which is obviously great for me. But even just, it's just even when you do it, you just think, why have I just done that? Like, that was really difficult. But then again, not everyone gets a bump as big as I have, so some people might not find it difficult at all. Some people might be able to get to like 35 weeks and be like, this is still absolutely fine, it doesn't feel any different. But I personally feel like a whale that's just been washed up on the shore, and it's just not for me really. So the next one is something that I've been suffering from really badly in the third trimester, and that is SPD, also known as pelvic girdle pain is how they like to. So symphysis pubis dysfunction, or also known as pelvic girdle pain, it is when your pelvic joints relax and they move unevenly, and obviously then you've got all the pressure pushing down from the weight of the baby and the uterus and the placenta, and you basically feel like you have got a broken pelvis. So my pregnancy has been so easy up until this point. I'd say till about 32 weeks, I've had no sickness, I've had no like major disgusting cravings, I haven't really gone off any foods other than in my first trimester, and it only lasted a few weeks. I've not had major tiredness. I've probably had like one tired day every few weeks, where I personally think that's when my bump has a bit of a growth spurt and it just makes me tired for the day. And then I sort of hit 32 weeks and I got this pain like in my lower bump, which felt a bit like a stitch, and my midwife was like, oh, it sounds like SPD, and I was like, no, I really don't think it does, like it's not in my pelvis, it's in my bump. But she was right, it spread down there, and now I feel like I've been hit by a bus. So when I get off this chair that I'm sat on, right now it's fine because I'm sat still. When I get up, it will be horrendous. So on a night when I'm asleep in bed, and if I need to turn over, it is honestly the worst pain in the world. It wakes me up. Going to the toilet takes me a good 5 minutes to get myself out of bed. And to the toilet, I literally have to like lean over the bed and walk myself because I can't stand up straight away. And even Josh said to me, it's like someone's flicked a switch in your pregnancy and you've just gone from being this like normal person to just in agony. And I was like, yeah, I know, which is crazy. And I now completely understand why people who have SPD mainly really don't like going past their due date. Like, I've always been one of them that says like, I don't understand why people don't get so angry when they go past the due date. Like, it's only 2 more weeks, they know the baby's going to come in them 2 weeks. Like, but now that I am in pain, I completely understand why people do not want to go past their due date and they get quite upset about it. And it's been actually okay today because I've been quite busy. I've been out and about walking, but I know full well that when I've sat down tonight on that sofa and I get back up, I will be in excruciating pain. So I haven't found any exercise or anything for it yet because I'm 36 weeks. I just think, is there even a point? But it really helps sitting on my birthing ball and bouncing up and down, because obviously it releases pressure in the pelvis because I'm sat on a ball instead of sat on a solid surface. So yeah, SPD or pelvic girdle pain is just not fun, and I don't actually know that many of my friends that suffered from it, so I never really heard about it that much. I only know a few people, and it's just not very nice. But I've heard it's good for labour because apparently it means that your pelvis is really relaxed, and when you are in labour it's easier to get the baby out. So that is all I am, like, I've got in my mind. I'm just like, hopefully labour will be easier and everything will be okay. So one of them is naming. So if you follow my YouTube channel, you will know that I am obsessed with baby names. I love baby names. I love thinking of baby names, but comes to myself, I just can't decide. And me and Josh can't agree on a name. Then we have one and we're like, yeah, right, if it's a boy, we'll use that. Yeah, that's the name. A week later, I don't think I like that name anymore. Like, it just doesn't feel right. Then a week again, we'll find another and we're like, right, have we set on this name? Like, is this the name? Is this what we're calling it? If it's a boy or if it's a girl? Yeah, a week later, I've gone off that name. I don't think I like it anymore. I think that I liked the one before. Like, we are just a nightmare and I'm just finding it really difficult. I don't know how people become so set on one name. And we have 4 weeks, maybe even less, maybe a little bit more left. So it's difficult. I know, again, not everyone finds this obviously an issue, but we as a couple have found this one of the hardest things. I even said before, obviously, the SPD kicked in, that the hardest thing about being pregnant is trying to find a name for the baby. So yeah, it's something that we have really struggled with. So now for a bit of a too much information problem. So I'm going to show you first and then I will explain. So these here are basically bumhole creams. So this one is a bumhole cream. And this one is a bumhole suppository, which I can't really pronounce. So when you are pregnant, you probably, maybe, possibly, unfortunately, like me, may produce piles or hemorrhoids, which is where the veins in your bum basically drop out and they are on the outside of your bum. They are very painful, and it's mainly caused by the pressure of obviously the weight of the baby like pushing down. And obviously I've got quite a big bump, so there's quite a lot of weight in there. And also because obviously all your muscles and your veins relax, it relaxes them at the same time, which means with the pressure it's just going to push them out. So I currently have 2 lovely sized blueberries on the outside of my anus, and I got told that this anusol is really good. So today I've been to Boots and I've bought the ointment, which is like a cream that you pop on, and then I've bought the suppositories, which is what you actually put into your hole, like a tampon, but for the other hole, and it's meant to shrink the piles, relieve discomfort, soothes itching and reduces inflammation. So I've also heard the cream's really good for labour, so I'm going to take the cream in my hospital bag as well, because apparently they just get worse after labour, which is just fantastic. It's the news I wanted to hear all week, that these are going to get worse. So yeah, that is one thing that you have to look forward to if you are as lucky as me. And if you are pregnant and watching this and you are in the same position as me, then welcome to the club. Get yourself some anusol ointment if you haven't already. And if you're not in the same club as me, then congratulations, you've made it. Your pregnancy has been perfect, because They are uncomfortable. Mix them with the SPD, feel like your pelvis has been run over or you've been hit by a bus and you're walking around as normal. With these, just the lower half of my body is just, it's just done. I'm finished. I feel like I could just stay in bed all day just because of the lower half of my body. Mentally, I'm fine. Up here, I'm fine. I've still got quite a bit of energy. I'm not even that tired, but my lower half of my body, done. Which brings me on to the last one, which is cellulite. So a lot of people think that because I've got no stretch marks on my stomach, which I've shared with people, which I'm not afraid to share that, like that's who I am. I don't have stretch marks on my stomach. It doesn't make me any better than you. It doesn't make me better than anybody else, but it also doesn't make me less better because I don't have them. Like, I'm honest with everything and I'm not going to lie and say I've got them when I don't, but I have cellulite. I've got more cellulite than I've ever had. In fact, I've got that much. What I'm going to do, I'm going to strip off for the final of this video and I am going to show you my cellulite in daylight. I want you to see my body, see that it's not as perfect as what some people think. I've had people message me saying I can't believe how good you look, it makes me feel awful, but trust me, I've got it. So here it is in all its glory. I don't know if you can see that very well, but yes, my bump is very all bump. It's right out to the front and I don't have much on the sides, but trust me, I still can grab it. I've lost all the muscle in my bum. It's literally the wobbliest, unmuscly thing ever. It's got plenty of cellulite, plenty of stretch marks, and I've also completely lost shape from the back of my body. And if I really wanted to, I could make myself look a lot bigger than what I am. I could have awful posture like this. I could stand with rounded shoulders, make myself look so much worse. I could squash my bum and my cellulite together. You know, it's not as glamorous as it seems. People see the pictures that have posed. You know, I've got really good posture, I'm stood up tall, I'm bringing my arm back, but really, if I just relax and chill out, I'm just kind of the same as everyone else. So, yeah. And another thing I'll add while I'm here is, why do our nipples grow so big when we are pregnant? I'm not a fan. So guys, thank you so much for watching my latest YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed watching and following my pregnancy problems. I try to be as honest as possible about everything in this pregnancy, and I just want people to know that not everything is sunshine and rainbows, not everything is an Instagram filter, not everything is as easy as people make out, and you will come across problems in your pregnancy. And if you're watching this and you are pregnant and you've had a few issues, you know that you are not alone. There's many things that we face as pregnant women that are problems. But thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and I will see you in the next video.